Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm glad that you found us here, and please click the subscribe button and join our tribe of survivors post narcissistic abuse. So today I want to talk about how and why the narc really doesn't ever release you or any supply that they've ever had. We all know how especially if we got discarded, in the manner that we get discarded is usually very, very painful, chaotic, and it seems very unfair. We never got closure. We were reeling from the discard. And this is a tactical thing that a narcissist will do, because if they can make it extremely painful, and it's like they're waiting for one of the most traumatic and worst times in your life to discard you. If they see that you're at your low point, and maybe you just lost your job, you just lost a parent, a dog, something, you're at a low point in your life, that's when they discard you. And the reason why they do that is not just because it's creating the most damage, but it creates like that trauma bond to hold you in that limbo suspense of wanting them at that moment. Because when something else, or it's when you need support the most from your partner, and when you have that feeling of wanting their support, and that's the moment that they discard you, the trauma bond that gets created at that moment, it's something that they can use later on if they want to hoover you. So when they're gone after the discard and you're left trying to pick up the pieces of not just, usually your life, but also pick up the pieces of your heart. When they come back to hoover you, to come back to try to get you back, it's going to make it easier to get you back because of the way they left you. And this is a tactic that they know works, especially if they've gone through lots of supply and relationships. They do get better at being a narcissist, and they will start to, almost make the breakups as bad as possible. And you would think that reason, a narcissist leaving you at the worst possible time would actually cement the breakup and ensure that you never take them back, but it doesn't. What happens is it's counter, it's the exact opposite of what you would think, because them coming back after such a traumatic breakup makes you almost want to take them back a little easier, because you want answers, you want closure. You never got a second chance to save your marriage or relationship. They were just gone. And so because of that, you will almost want to hear what they have to say, because you never got the chance before. And that is kind of what the narcissist is counting on. And a lot of people, they wonder if the narcissist is ever going to come back. And I can guarantee you, they always come back. It just doesn't, there's no timeline, but you're always in danger of them coming back. And I can kind of see, I always have this vision, and especially with the thumbnail that I chose for this video, after a narcissist has gone through so many relationships, and it's a pattern. So the new supply is following the exact same pattern that you did to a T, but it's probably even going to be worse for them than it was for you. The relationships tend to get shorter, faster, and more harsh. And the devaluing stage is quicker, and the discarding stage is even more intense, because they learn that the better they love bomb, the more fuel they get, the more traumatic the discard is, the easier it is to hoover, and they start to learn that, negative fuel is just almost as good as positive fuel. And the more relationships they have, the more access they have to negative fuel by going back to hoover. or even trying to hoover. So I always picture the narcissist kind of wading through all these chained up relationships of their lives that they're harboring and choosing which one they're going to go back to for a hoover, or go to, while they still have their main supply. And it's just, I forget what song it is. It's a song about a guy collecting a jar of hearts, and he's just so cold. I'll put it in the description if I remember. But that's what like a narcissist is. They collect jars of hearts. They don't care. And they're almost proud about how many hearts they have in their jars. And like they'll put up the jars on all the shelves and look at it. Which one can I, if they're low on fuel from somewhere, which one can I go back to get something out of? And I think that's why out of all the relationships I've had, because I had serious relationships with men before my marriage to the narc. And I have to say that for the most part, I don't think of them anymore. And it's not just because they happened a long time ago. I don't think of them because I wasn't trauma bonded to them. And I wasn't discarded and, left in turmoil and then with no answers and no closure and no... So that should, that tells me, and that should tell you that they did this on purpose. Now, some people say that they're not conscious of what they're doing. They are. Even if they don't know it, the personality and the disorder of the narcissist is doing it, of making it as horrible as possible for you without any emotion, because they're able to do these things to people because they don't have any remorse themselves. They don't have the feelings. They don't feel remorse from destroying someone else's life. They feel nothing. So they can do it again and again and again, and they almost get gratification from it, knowing that they can steal someone's heart and go back and steal something else from them. I'm hearing stories of the narcissist is getting so good at being a narcissist, and the relationships are getting shorter. They're able to now, like the older narcissists, and I'll do a video about an aging narcissist because it's kind of, for some reason, it kind of makes me feel good to study that one, which I think is not good, but it's how I felt. But what was I saying? The narcissist getting so good. I'm hearing stories about how the aging narcissist can go from a discard, like being in a serious relationship, like the devalue, the discard, and the new supply. After they get the new supply, they get married and have a kid and a divorce all within 1 year. And that's the pattern that they're in now. I mean, because there's a lot of you out there where, your husband or your wife left you, and either they have a new supply lined up and they were in a full-blown relationship right away, and some of them get married and have kids with the new supply in a flash. And you're just like, not only are you trying to figure out why your relationship ended, but you're witnessing them so happy with someone else. And it takes a long, and the thing is, I shouldn't say all narcissists, go through faster and faster and faster, because there are some narcissists out there that will be with someone for like 20 years. Right. And that, but that doesn't mean it's a love bombing good 20 years either. A lot of those stories are kind of horrific, and my heart really goes out to you guys. But like the moral of this talk I wanted to stress is that the narcissist will trauma bond you and keep you tethered, whether you know it or not. They do it tactfully on purpose so they can come back to you and like collect all their jars of hearts, like hold you in that position. And they discard you in the worst possible way and chained up, and and just start collecting all their relationships that way on purpose. Because most relationships, you get to, when you break up, you get some sort of closure, a little bit, or a lot of times you get warning that the relationship is kind of on the rocks and things are not going good, and you might break up and get back together a few times almost, or you have some fights and you talk things out. Well, that just, for the most part, that just doesn't happen with a narcissist. They're just gone. And the fact that they do that is to watch you react, because that's fuel for them, and also leave you in a position where if they come back, you will let them come back even just to talk to them, because you want closure. But they're not going to come back to give you any of that, ever. You'll never get the closure that you seek from a narcissist. They're always going to keep that from you, because they're always going to want to keep that door open to get fuel from you later. So they'll never give you closure. So that's kind of something you have to kind of settle into, knowing that you're never going to get closure, and it's because they're a narcissist. So they're going to keep that door open and keep you almost chained up a little bit for their own use. Now, whether in this, and it doesn't really matter if they're like completely out of your life. Like my ex is living in a different country with his new supply. But I still know, and I still have to be wary of the fact that he will come back at any time. And I would talk to him, and I would want to talk to him. I'm not saying I would. I'm just saying I would want to talk to him to find out what the hell. How did that, I want to know why. When did it start? I would want to want answers for why my marriage of 7 years was over overnight without me knowing about it. And that's like a very human thing, to want to know why. So anyway, I won't go on too much, but I just want everyone to know out there that the reason why they never let you go is the same reason why it ended so badly, because it actually almost makes it, the tactful way they did it was almost make it easier for them to come back. And it was all tactful. It's what a narcissist kind of does to all supply. So it's not us, it's them. Gosh. So I will, in my next talk, I think because my narc is aging, I'll put a talk together for you guys about the aging narcissist. So thank you so much, everyone out there, for listening. I'm glad that you found us here and joined our tribe. We're all helping each other, and it's just amazing. I love reading your guys' comments. Like, some of you guys out there, I think, are so brave, and you've been through so much. And I read some of them, and some of them are some of you guys out there are going through things that I never even thought of, like very young men dating a very older woman who is a narcissist, and the things that can happen with that. Like there's dynamics of relationships out there that I'm learning from all of you guys, and the thread is common. They're all taking cues from the same flight path book. They're so we can all really help each other when we share our stories. So we're all healing together with this tribe. Post Narcissist.